Okay, Matt, you've had these guys for a practice. Who are you going to draft? As you go through this process, how much time individually do you spend with each of these guys, and how much of a sense can you get for them as people, during this week?
Well, we get 2 hours a day on the practice field, and then we get another 2 hours a day of meetings. So that's our coaching time with them. Outside of that, there's times just being around them, having a chance to just catch up with guys, and then there's the formal interviews. But they have a whole other, like tonight they have some financial literacy learning and some different things like that, some life skill stuff. So there's not as much time as you would think. That being said, I think for us, the ability to coach the guys is really what we want to do the most, and then try to grab guys on the other team when we can, in terms of interviewing them. But it's been a wonderful experience so far. I think the meetings are really good. And then being on the practice field, seeing how people respond to coaching, how they get better, how they improve. I think it'll be a really great week.
Hey, Matt, without the traditional off-season and scouting process this year, as well as last too, I know you've talked about meeting Derek Brown and how much of an effect that had on you guys. What do you get when you are up close to them, when you are coaching them? I guess elaborate on how much you get, how much extra you get when you can watch them on the field practice.
Well, this is invaluable. As I told the players, we think we know all these guys. Our scouts do a great job, and all the scouts around the league do a great job. But that's always information from a third party, someone at the school, a coach, and I'm sure they do a great job. This is a chance for the players to really speak for themselves and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what my makeup is. And so I think coaching them, I think being in meetings with them, I think just being on the elevator with them, you get a sense for the guys. And we're looking to find out who's tough, hardworking, and competitive, or who's smart, who loves the game, and who's a good person. We spend 6 months of the year together, so we want to be around people that we like and fit us. So I think this is invaluable in this year to have this opportunity. I mean, no one knows what will happen after this. I think it's really smart of these guys to play in this game. I think Jim Nagy and his staff have done a fantastic job putting together a great roster, and I think we'll leave with a really good sense of these guys.
Let's go to Phil Orban for the next question.
Hey, Matt, you mentioned seeing the prospects up close, but how valuable will this week be to work with Scott? And have you kind of got a sense of what he's looking for and kind of building that relationship between you two?
Yeah, I think it's a really good opportunity for Scott and I to spend some time together, and probably even more importantly for our coaches and our scouts, to be together. You think about it, I haven't seen our scouts since last year at the Combine. So last time I saw Joel Patton, last time I saw Jeff Beathard, and in a typical year, they'd come in for maybe some spring meetings, or I'd see them, in training camp. Or I haven't seen these guys, and they're great guys, but when you're together, when you're together, you get a better sense for what we're all looking for, so to sit there and be able to watch the tape together, I think it's really invaluable. And I think just for me and Scott, just to, Scott wants to bring our staff players to fit our systems. And so just for us just to continue to work to get on the same page in terms of, hey, this is what we're looking for in a tight end. This is what we're looking for, to sit there and just go through the roster face to face, not over a Zoom call, has been really cool.
Let's go to Jake Circus. Jake, need to unmute yourself. Sorry.
Hey, Coach, you're only a year removed from being a head coach at the college level, seeing these types of players fresh out of college. You've even coached against some of them, Sam Ehlinger, Talon Wallace, just to name a few. What's it like to be back here with these guys coming right out of school, seeing them develop each and every day as they enter into the NFL?
Yeah, Coach Flores and I did a orientation the other night with Jim Nagy. Talked to the guys, and then stood up there and visited with all the guys. I mean, there's got Mark Webb at Georgia. I think I was the first guy maybe to offer him a scholarship back at Archbishop Wood High School. Quincy Roche and Kenny Yeboah played for me at Temple. Sam Ehlinger, a tremendous competitor we've gone against. So there's all these kind of stories. Talon Wallace, when he tore his ACL, I wrote him a letter, just trying to be a positive influence, just trying to be positive with him. And it's the first time I'd seen him since then. he came up and talked to me about that. So just all these, kind of interesting little stories, guys we recruited, guys we knew, guys we coached, guys we played against, and then some other guys I didn't know, that I've had a chance to talk to. So it's and if ever there have been 2 years where you like having some knowledge of these guys from recruiting and from college, it's these years where there's so much less information. So I think our college experience is really valuable, last year's draft and this year.
Let's go to Sean Schornebrough. I apologize if I didn't pronounce your last name right.
No, you actually got it right. But Coach, I guess we had a weird college season. Obviously, you know that. So the guys who opted out or came from smaller schools where they didn't get that exposure, how important is this, and how rusty do you think they might be in these opening days of practice?
I can't imagine how rusty they are. It takes, I'm really proud of those guys for coming here and playing. I think it's a really smart decision, but it's hard to go a full year and a half without having played. I think it was really smart of them to do it. I was talking to Mac Jones today. I said, "Hey, Mac, what's that on your leg?" And he was like, "It's a turf burn." I said, "From what?" He said, "From the game. He just played 2 weeks ago." And then, I'm talking to someone else, and they haven't played since, a full year and a half ago. So I think one of the unique things that I'm seeing is a lot of these guys didn't even have an off season of training, from last year to this past season. So this will be a unique draft, and you have to piece a lot of things together. So this is really important for us, but it was really smart by those guys to play in the game.
Let's go to John Zenor.
Coach, how you talked about the financial literacy. I know you got the Aeneas Williams, Tony Richardson, former NFL guys talking to the players this week. How important is that, do you think, to kind of give these players an idea of what to expect and how to handle themselves?
Yeah, and I'm not doing that. That's coming from the Senior Bowl, but I think it's really, really important. When I was 21, 22 years old, I didn't all of a sudden get a bunch of money, and a lot of these guys are going to make a lot of money, and the decisions that they make, will affect their future. They'll build their future with the decisions that they make. So I think there's a responsibility from all of us to impart wisdom. I'm trying to do that in our meetings. I'm talking about the fine schedule. I'm talking just different things about what it truly means to become a pro. Hey, this is what you can do. This is what you can't do. So when they walk into the NFL, they walk in a little bit more empowered, with more information, so they can be successful. So I think it's really commendable that the Senior Bowl is doing some things like that to help. And it maybe not affect everyone, but if one or two guys walk out of that room learning something or opening their eyes to make better decisions or to take care of themselves better, then it was well deserved, well served. So I think it's great. I think it's a responsibility we all have when we're working with young people.
Let's go to Mitch Brown for the next question.
Coach, obviously looking at your roster, you've got quite a few in your receivers group, working with quite a few of the Clemson and South Carolina guys in that group. Obviously, right down the road from those two schools, what's it like to be able to finally see them up close in person? I'm sure you've heard of them before from scouts and stuff like that, but now to actually get your hands on them and be able to see them as a group.
Well, I think it's great. What Clemson has done, what Coach Sweeney has done, is remarkable, is fantastic. They have great players, and so obviously to have a chance to be out there talking to the guys, getting to know them as people, really impressive people. And then, South Carolina, obviously we've had a couple guys on our team that are from South Carolina. Steve Drummond pulled in. He had his South Carolina Gamecock bag walking in. I mean, Marcus Satterfield just left us to go join Coach Beamer's staff. So, where we're positioned, I'm going to be a Duke, UNC, NC State, South Carolina, Clemson. I have the benefit of being able to cheer for all those guys and root for all those guys. And so to see them, to work with them, I think is really important. We always want to work inside out and have as much knowledge about the guys, in our immediate area as possible.
Let's go to Joe Person.
Hey, Matt. You guys are down 3 coaches for COVID-related reasons. Not really like NFL protocol necessarily, but how are you all kind of trying to keep your hands around that going forward?
And you were breaking up there, Joe. So are you asking about the coaching or just about just dealing with the COVID itself?
Yeah, how you guys are kind of trying to keep that, and I don't know, is there a close contact kind of protocol, or are you sort of your own judgment on this?
Yeah, there's no protocol other than the Senior Bowls protocol. I mean, we test every day. I thought Eddie Levins did a great. We were all on vacation, and so as we've come back, Eddie had us test. We tested a couple days before. We tested Friday. We tested, again on the plane before we left, and then we tested when we got here, joined this protocol here, this bubble. So, but again, we were all sort of separate, so it wasn't like we were kind of all in a room together. So we've been trying to be smart about doing things virtually when we can. I think one of the biggest things is, it's just kind of all around us, right? It's in our kids' schools, it's everywhere. So it's a virus. All three guys, we look forward to getting them back. Luckily, we have a bunch of good young coaches who are filling in.
I was going to ask you too, if you had an update on Ben Cleveland.
Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
Ben Cleveland update.
Oh, from practice today? I don't really know yet. Do you know anything on Ben? It looked like it was an sprain. It looked like it was some sort of an ankle injury, but how severe it is, I don't know that yet. I'm sorry.
Go to Daniel Alameda.
Hey, Coach, we've seen a bunch of different quarterbacks have major success in the NFL. What are some of the traits you look for in a quarterback?
Just in general, I think you want someone who's elitely intelligent. I think you want someone who's a tremendous leader. And when I say intelligent, it's not the ability to gain information as much as it is to process information. I think you want someone who's accurate. I think you want someone who has arm talent to make all the throws. And I think you want someone who has a history of making plays in crucial situations. That's very, kind of generic. I think with quarterbacks today in the NFL, especially the young guys you see having success, you see a sense of mobility to those guys. Whereas the older guys, they process so quickly. Like, you blitz Drew Brees, you blitz Tom Brady, the ball's out before you take two steps. I mean, they're not going to run a bad play. They're going to be in the younger guys don't have that knowledge base. They don't have that experience. And so they have to sometimes rely on their feet a little bit more. And I think having tremendous weapons around them. I think a lot's made sometimes about quarterbacks coming into the league and failing. But usually a lot of times they go to poor organizations with not a lot of talent around them. Watch the game this week coming up in the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl, both Mahomes and Brady are elite talents, elite players, but they're also surrounded by a ton of talent. And so I think all of that kind of goes into their success. But those would be the traits I'd say we're looking for in any of our quarterbacks.
Next question will go to Dave Burkett.
Hey, Matt, this sort of ties in with that one, two parts actually, but how much can you tell about the leadership of a quarterback, and specifically a guy like Mac Jones, who's going to be, perhaps at least playing a prominent role for whatever team drafts him in a week like this? And then the second thing is there are a lot of veteran quarterbacks who will be on the market this offseason. How interested in getting in some of the bidding for those guys are you?
I think with regards to the quarterbacks here and with Mac, I think you can see their ability to, depending on how much you decide to put in, right? So you can put a simple game plan in or you can put a lot in. We're always going to probably put a lot in. So we've put a lot in. I think you find out their ability to learn, to recall. You see a little bit of the processing, but because of the rules of the game, it's kind of limited to just a couple coverages. So, I mean, if we went out and faced cover 2, cover 3 and man free with, pretty much most young quarterbacks can handle that. So I don't know if you see a ton of the processing, but you can see their ability to handle kind of duress and pressure and, pocket move, collapsing on them and those things. So I think you have a chance to see a lot of that. I think you have a chance to see how they handle stress. I mean, managing anxiety and stress is a big part of that position. No matter what you do, there's always going to be something you can do better. And then leadership, I think you get a general sense of it. You see, you don't really see how someone's going to manage and lead when things are bad. You can see someone's kind of take charge mentality and mindset. But to me, true leadership shows up when things are down and you're the guy stepping up. So I think you see a lot this week. You see a lot of other personality. You try to piece that together with what from their college experience, and then you just try to build a picture for who each person is at every position but specifically the quarterback. And then with regards to, anything regarding, I probably don't have much to say about, anything about our roster, anything different, from the end of the season.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Go to David Newton for the next question.
Hey, Matt, I got a couple things I want to ask you. First of all, I know you answering Joe's question about the guys having COVID, but who's actually going to call the plays? Is it going to be a group effort, one guy, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, they're going to I'm going to just have each guy take a quarter. The guys were here last year, so Nixon will take a quarter, called plays for me at Baylor. Frizz will take a quarter. Angelico will take a quarter, and Pat will take a quarter. So I think, that's something that we've done. In college, we did it in scrimmages. We did it this year because we scrimmaged in scrimmages. I think it's good for every coach to kind of call plays every once in a while. It's good for their development, their experience, but also at the same time gives you perspective of what it's like. So we'll do that, and we'll pick the quarters and all that later in the week. So.
And how has COVID changed your scouting process in regards to what you're doing here and moving forward?
It's changed everything. It's not a lot of interaction. It's not a lot of one. I'll just tell you this. There was a player last year, and I won't say who was supposed to be drafted pretty highly, and I got in the elevator with them at the combine, and I was just like, by the end of that elevator ride, I was like, there's no way that guy will be fit with us. And just the way their demeanor, the way they acted. I think having that personal touch is really hard, right? To not have it, but we have to make it up on Zooms. I think our scouts didn't really go out much this year. They didn't do school calls. They didn't have a chance to get in. They had to do it all over Zoom, and then went to some games. So I think it's changed everything. This would be a year where everyone across the NFL knows less about the players than any other year.
Let's go to Elena Getzenberg.
Hey, Matt, I was curious, I remember a year ago, a lot of your coaching staff was meeting each other at the Senior Bowl, and it was like a whole different thing. Is this also an opportunity, I guess, for new members of the coaching staff? How is that going to work with getting them integrated? And then I guess for your coaching staff in general, without the off season last year, is this an additional opportunity to kind of spend time together? I guess, do you view it in that way at all? Yeah, absolutely. What I said to our staff was, we're coming here for really 4 reasons. Number one, we're coming here to evaluate players. We want to find out more about them. We're coming here, number 2, to help players help themselves. We're coaches. Our job is to help people. So we want to help these guys have a good week so they up their stock. Number 3, it's a chance for us to work at our craft, to work at coaching, to develop our young coaches, and for us to work well with each other. And then number 4, for us to integrate with the scouting and get us all of one mind, of one vision. So, Sean Ryan, Tony Sperano, those guys, they're out there. Them to just quickly get, hey, this is how we do things, for us to continue to improve how we do things. I think those are all really good things. As an aside, like last year, I sat in the parking lot of the Senior Bowl in Joe Brady's car with Joe, Jake, and myself, and we interviewed Pat Meyer, or maybe not Pat Meyer. We interviewed maybe Angelico, one of the coaches we interviewed by phone. Just like, hey, I can't remember who it was, but we interviewed him by phone and at the game, and here they are, out there working with us. So it's just such unique things, a unique time. So this is a really good opportunity for us kind of all to be together.
Let's go to Phil Orban.
Hey, Matt, you mentioned the opt-outs, and I'm curious because we had a couple high-profile guys in our area who opted out for the season. How do you physically evaluate them, understanding they have a year off, and then kind of understand like how deeply do you dive into their reasons for opting out, and would that ever affect your evaluation of a player who chose to opt out instead of playing?
I think opting out is just like transferring for me. It's just like any other personal decision. I just always want to know why, want to understand why. COVID has affected everyone so differently that I'm not here to judge anyone on their reaction to it. But it's all these big decisions these guys have made in their lives we want to ask them about and understand their decision making, for everything. So, I'll say transfers, guys who transfer, explain to me why, so I have just a better picture of who they are. So I think those are things that we'll do. Now, in terms of physically, I think the one thing I told the guys 100 times, like, don't have anxiety about going out here. Like, you haven't played in a while, even if you're a guy who played the college season, maybe you only played 4 games this year. But just try to make it football, go back to doing what you love, and you'll get better as the week goes on. I think what we'll find is we'll try to really evaluate later in the week. If there was ever a year that playing in the game was important, it would be this year, to see how you play with the bullets flying. Like, what do you do? So I think all those things, we'll just take it all into consideration. I think that's why it's so good for us to be on the inside, really seeing players and seeing how hard they work at. Like, I came down for the team meeting at 9 this morning. There was guys in there studying. Everyone usually does it on day one. Who's going to be doing that on Friday? That's what I want to see. But the guys are working hard to put themselves in their best position.
All right, guys, got time for one more before we let Coach go. So let's go to Ben Standing for the final question.
Hey, thanks for your time. Just curious with regards to, it's not breaking news to say that quarterbacks are important in the NFL, but I'm curious, having now been in the league for a year, has your view of the position changed in terms of what it takes to have to be successful quarterback in the NFL, and the idea of having a veteran versus a rookie, and the immediacy of how the league is, always has to win, you kind of have to win now type thing. Has anything changed for you, how you view the position after a year in the league?
I don't think so. I mean, I think, my previous time that I was in the NFL, I was with the Giants, and they were a winning organization. And, we had Eli, who's a Hall of Fame quarterback, 2-time Super Bowl champion. So I think that was my indoctrination into this. So I think that, I've always kind of had that, I've always had that belief. I think it was Vince Lombardi who said, football has one weakness. It's the over-reliance on the quarterback position, So I think we understand that. And, I think I've always understood that. And I don't think any of that's changed for me.